The starship Celestial Voyager hummed with the quiet efficiency of a vessel designed for the galaxy's elite. Roma wiped his grease-stained hands on his worn jumpsuit as he made his way through the pristine corridors, feeling distinctly out of place among the perfectly groomed passengers. The human mechanic had saved for 3 years to afford this first-class ticket to the Andromeda Treaty Summit, where he hoped to present his revolutionary engine design. At the boarding gate, Roma noticed the commotion immediately. A massive draconian veteran, scales dulled with age and scarred from countless battles, stood before the Vaxian ticket agent. The dragon's wings, one clearly damaged and folded awkwardly, trembled with barely contained frustration. "I don't understand," the draconian rumbled, his voice like distant thunder. "My military service record should have upgraded my ticket automatically." The Vaxian agent's antennae twitched with barely concealed disdain. "Sir, your species' military contributions were from the old war. Current policy only recognizes conflicts from the last century. You'll need to proceed to economy seating." Roma watched as other passengers, sleek Zentari in their flowing robes, crystalline lithoids, even a few humans, averted their eyes and hurried past. The dragon's head lowered, ancient pride warring with acceptance of yet another indignity in a galaxy that had moved on without him. Something in Roma's chest tightened. His grandmother had told him stories of the old war, of how the draconian fleets had held the line against the Void Swarm, while younger species evacuated entire systems. This warrior had probably saved billions. "Excuse me?" Roma stepped forward, pulling out his ticket chip. "I think there's been a mix-up with my reservation. I'm actually supposed to be in economy." The Vaxian agent's eyes widened. "Sir, your ticket clearly states—" "I insist," Roma said firmly, pressing his first-class chip into the dragon's massive claw. "I'm just a mechanic heading to a convention. This veteran deserves that seat more than I do." The draconian's golden eyes locked onto Roma's, surprise flickering across ancient features. "Human? You don't have to—" "I know," Roma smiled, "but my grandmother would haunt me if I didn't. She always said the draconians taught humanity what honor meant." For a moment, the entire gate area fell silent. Then the dragon slowly straightened, his damaged wing stretching as far as it could. "Your grandmother was a warrior?" "Evacuation ship captain. Battle of Proxima Refuge." The dragon's eyes blazed with recognition. "The indomitable spirit. I provided cover fire for that fleet." His voice softened. "Your family survived because of that day." "And my family existed to save because of what you did," Roma replied. Anna, a young human diplomat who had been watching the exchange, approached with quick steps. She'd been observing Roma since boarding, intrigued by the mechanic who seemed so uncomfortable in first class. "That was incredibly kind," she said quietly. Roma shrugged. "Just seemed right." The flight passed uneventfully for Roma in his new economy seat, cramped, yes, but he'd slept in worse places. He spent the journey reviewing his engine designs, unaware that his small act of kindness had set larger wheels in motion. In first class, the draconian veteran, Commander Thaxazor of the Old Guard, sat surrounded by the galaxy's elite. As drinks were served and conversations flowed, the Zentari ambassador couldn't help but mention the unusual scene at boarding. "Fascinating," mused a lithoid corporate executive. "Humans are still such an unpredictable species. Illogical, really, to give up value for sentiment." Thaxazor's rumble silenced the nearby conversations. "That illogical sentiment is precisely why humans have thrived, where others have stagnated. They call it empathy. They weigh honor above comfort." Anna, seated across the aisle, leaned forward. "Commander, if I may, that mechanic mentioned a convention. You wouldn't happen to know what he's presenting?" Thaxazor produced the small datapad Roma had accidentally left behind in the seat pocket. He seems to have developed a plasma fusion hybrid drive, revolutionary if these calculations are correct. The lithoid executive's crystalline structure brightened with interest. May I see those specs? By the time the Celestial Voyager reached the Andromeda station, Roma's engine design had been reviewed by 3 corporate executives, 2 ambassadors, and a draconian war hero. When Roma disembarked, still unaware, he was surprised to find Anna waiting for him. "Roma," she smiled, "you're going to want to come with me." He followed her in confusion through the station's diplomatic corridors to a private conference room. Inside, Commander Thaxazor stood with an assembly of the galaxy's most powerful figures. "Mr. Roma," the Zentari ambassador spoke first, "your engine design has caused quite a stir. We'd like to offer you full funding for development with one condition." Roma's jaw dropped. What condition?" "That humans are involved in every stage of production," Thaxazor growled, a gleam of satisfaction in his ancient eyes. "This galaxy has forgotten what your species represents. You don't just build better engines, you build better tomorrows. Today you reminded us that honor and innovation are not opposing forces." Anna stepped beside Roma, her diplomatic credentials suddenly making sense. "The Terran Council has nominated you as chief engineer for the new interspecies propulsion initiative. I'm assigned as your liaison." Roma looked at his grease-stained hands, then at the assembled power of the galaxy. "I just gave up a seat." "No," Commander Thaxazor corrected, placing a claw gently on Roma's shoulder. "You gave an old warrior his dignity, and in doing so you reminded us why humanity deserves its place among the stars. Not because you're the strongest or the smartest, but because you're the kindest. And kindness, young mechanic, is the rarest resource in this galaxy." As Roma signed contracts that would change interstellar travel forever, he couldn't help but think of his grandmother. She'd always said that the smallest gestures ripple farthest. She'd been right.